This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee Sharp, and welcome to this edition of The Aware Show. We're celebrating Black history and the history of various ethnic communities all year long, as we do right here for you. And thinking of celebrating, want you to remember that we are celebrating 25 years right here on the air at WSRE PBS for the Gulf Coast, and we couldn't do it without you. Once again, thank you so much for being right there. Well, most of the time, you are there, outside looking in at the news and media. Well, today, you'll be inside looking out at the mediums that bring you the news. We're taking you behind the scenes of minorities in the media. On today's program, we'll talk with some of your local movers and shakers who represent minorities in television, radio, print, and even on the World Wide Web of social media. We'll talk about the challenges and triumphs of minority-owned media businesses. We'll also take a look at why, despite an industry that is said to be more inclusive, minorities are still underrepresented in all aspects of the industry, including ownership, in the boardroom, as writers, publishers, editors, and even on-air talent. Last but certainly not least, of course, we'll explore some of the hot topics you've been hearing about in the news that have stirred up a lot of controversy and have led to discussions about race, diversity, and inclusion. Joining me in the studio are our trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and talented media professionals who continue to make a positive difference right here in our community. And with that in mind, we want to introduce you to our guest now. This man, Jerry McIntosh, the host and creator behind Our Voices and the McIntosh Principle, an internet-based live stream program. Certainly glad to have him here. Next, we have Vernon Watson, owner and general manager of WBQP TV. And then we have this lovely lady. She's no stranger to the Aware Show, Grace Resendez McCaffrey. She's the owner and publisher of La Costa Latina newspaper. And last but certainly not least, we have Jacqueline Miles, publisher of the iconic Pensacola Voice newspaper. We are so glad to have each and every last one of you here.
Good being here.
Yeah, representing each of your mediums respectively. We got it all covered right here on The Aware Show. We've got a lot to cover, too, in just a short amount of time, because you know how time flies when we're in the media, right? Time is everything. And, you know, want to give each of you an opportunity to kind of fill us in on some things about you and your mediums respective before we get into some of the other issues. We'll start with you, Vernon, because you are celebrating 25 years as well. Congratulations on your silver anniversary.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we started about the same time you started the Aware Show 25 years ago. And as I was telling you earlier, I often think about Fats Domino. When folks say, where are you? You know, we're still here. We're alive and kicking. They asked Fats Domino what happened to him after Katrina. They hadn't heard much from him. So he produced a song called I'm Alive and Kicking. So after 25 years, WBQP TV is still alive and kicking. And in fact, we just got a little bit bigger. We had more channels on the air now. We started off with one channel when we had analog television, and now we up to 8 digital channels over-the-air television. So we here. And I have to give a plug for my counterpart, Robert Hill at WRND Radio and Choice 106.9. He represents the radio aspects of our voices for our community.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Again, happy silver anniversary.
Yes, and he's on his 26th year. We're on my 25th, and he's on his 26th year.
Absolutely
Yes.
wonderful. Jerry, you are no stranger to the Aware Show.
No,
Glad
not
we
at all.
got you here again.
Yeah, it's always great to be here.
Our Voices, the McIntosh Principle. Tell us more.
Well, I was, as a matter of fact, one of the first television shows I went on after yours was Vernon, when he was doing a show. And then
I've been on this show too.
yeah. And then my friend Jackie over there, she was doing the radio show. started working with her in radio, and been involved ever since. But one of the things that I wanted to do was expand the things that we needed to talk about and change the image of what we see, and help to develop young people also to come and do something other than us just talking about things. What need to be done? Let's do something about it. And that image to me is to make sure that people see a different image than what the corporate media put out there about us. Whenever I'm looking at television, the only time I see black people and when there's a arrest record. And every once in a while, something decent that's shown, but it's no balance. We want to balance that.
All right. We're going to keep that in mind because we're going to be talking about some of that on this show, The Aware Show. And we have our dear friend back with us as well. You were here many years ago with us, and you joined us again, and we're so glad to have you representing the Latino community.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Grace, tell us a little bit about what's going on at La Costa.
Well, actually, in 2015, we celebrated our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the creation of La Costa Latina newspaper really came from the sudden change in demographics in the Gulf Coast after Hurricane Ivan, and really the concern for the safety and health and well-being of this new demographic that now lives here, and just wanting to make sure that they were connected with services and resources that are available to everyone as a new community, and getting to know what's here and who's here, and just basically bridging the communication gap between local government, resources, companies that were looking to reach out to this market and
Very good.
make them feel at home.
We're so proud of you. 10 years and counting at La Costa. I need to make sure I'm saying this right, La Costa Latina, because that means
The Latin Coast.
the Latin Coast. All right, we're going to be talking more about that in just a moment. And Jacqueline, thank you for being here on The Aware Show. Tell us all
Thank you
about
for having
Pensacola
me.
Voice. I'll tell you the truth, I have been as well featured in the Pensacola Voice. So I am so glad that you all have been around longer than any of us.
Yes, yes, yes.
Tell us about it.
Well, as you well know, we're the Pensacola Voice. We've been around. Actually, 2015, we celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And thank you. That was something that my staff and I can truly say, they asked me, please, let's not do that this year. But it's something that was a milestone for us. We covered the Northwest Florida territories. We actually cover all of Pensacola. We cover Crestview, Milton Pace, Perdido Keys. We got Pensacola Beach, and we also cover, we're now down in Panama City. So we also have our paper is a paper that we have now decided that we are going to be the positive paper, because, in mainstream media, you have so much of negativity that's going on. So we really believe trash in, trash out. So we really focus a lot on the positive things of the community that we have going on. And sometimes it's interesting. We also have what I'm really proud of is that we really celebrate our senior citizens. So we have senior citizens that turn 80 years old, 90 years old, they turn 100, we make sure we give them the spotlight, we give them a front page, and they become part of the Pensacola Voices Senior Citizens Growing Young Club. And we've got other things that we've got going on, social media that we're expanding in, a lot of different things that we're going to expand in and we talk about.
Very good. And hopefully we're going to give you an opportunity to tell us all about that, because we want people to follow Pensacola Voice, just as with the rest of you who are present here, because you guys do some wonderful things in the community to get the information out there. And I want to answer a question that I'm getting ready to ask. I want you to answer it, because I'm getting ready to say this. According to information, that I researched, the first black newspaper started in 1827. And it started because some African Americans did not want that negative information out there, or how would I say, they wanted the balance that you mentioned, and they wanted to talk about the positive things that you mentioned, Jacqueline. And so in doing that, they were able to start a newspaper and put that positive information out there. And I know that that's some of our duties and our responsibilities. I know here at the Aware Show for 25 years, that's what we've done. First and foremost, we have highlighted the positive things that are going on in our minority communities, period. And we've had a duty and a responsibility to do it, and we did it as a labor of love. It came very natural for us. I know it did for you too. Vernon, can you tell us a little bit about the need? Because what you hear now is there a need to continue with a minority newspaper or minority TV or anything minority with the media?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is a continued need to do that. Dee Dee, 25 years ago when I had the idea of and the audacity to try to have a television station, the thing that came to my mind was that in those days, we wasn't represented on television at all, particularly on a local level. You had few national faces on television, but nowhere locally that we were represented. And I saw an opportunity to have an opportunity to do a TV station. So I thought it's something I could try, and I did. And I went into it with that thought in mind, giving us some representation in that arena. And I think I kind of blazed the trail because now it's not uncommon to see black folks on local television. So, but that was my thought in mind.
And see, that's the thing, you know, people would say now that in a day and time when we're supposed to be integrated, is there a need to have a segregated voice for minorities? And I already know the answer here, but I'm just opening it up for you all to say it.
I would say more so now than in the past, because of 24-hour television and the 24-hour negative, disposition that we see all over. Because now you see what you used to see just in America, you see all over the world. And this is why we have to be a part of the world community, making sure that image that goes out about us is positive as much as possible to counter what is being put out there about us. And that should run the gamut in all minority communities, or I would say the African American community and the Latino community, to make sure that those images that people see are not the image, because, you know, we have to let them know, maybe, you know, there's a few people doing some negative stuff. But the majority of the people, majority of our young people, the majority of our students are going on and doing great things. But if you would watch the news, you wouldn't know that. Case in point, there was a big event down in South Florida, and I think it was Orlando, where there were students, young men, I think there were about 500 of them. They had a grade point average between 4.5 and 5.0. And that was the.
Well, there was a Million Man March again in D.C. We didn't.
But that's what I'm saying.
Hear a lot about recently.
And that's the thing. There's no coverage of those positive image on the national stage, if you will, with the media.
Grace?
Well, I don't think it's just a matter of what we portray to the world by the stories and the images that we produce with our media outlets, but I think it also helps to grow a more positive community.
Right, exactly.
A community that sees themselves in a positive light and sees that not everybody looks at them in a negative way as a minority, and talks about their cultural group in a positive light with potential to do more. With Hispanics being the fastest growing minority group in the country, I think it's very important to be encouraging to young people and show the positive things that they can do in life as they become the leaders of our communities.
You know, and aside from that also, you know, one of the things that we look at is at the Pensacola Voice is that we realize that our community, African American community, actually needs a voice because we have so many things that are going on, and that there's nobody actually out there that's trying to tell the story, but tell the whole story. We'll hear part of the story probably in mainstream media, and they don't tell the other part of it. So what we try to do is that we want to get in, we get out, and we want to give both sides of the story. We have found on a local level, as you were saying, we have a lot of negativity that's always portrayed about us. But I would say out of the negativity that's going on, it's probably only about 10%, but that 10% is just exploited to the point that you would think it's the 90%. Yeah. So what we like to do is we want to come in and we want to let everybody know, look, you have a voice. Your voice is the Pensacola voice. And we like to, as we were saying, you and I were talking about, we want to connect the dots. So our job, what we're going to start doing is that we're going to connect the dots with African Americans, with Latinos, with Vietnamese, with other communities, because all communities need a voice. So, it's not a hard job. It's just a matter of communicating, Yeah.
Okay. Did you
Well,
have a
yeah, in addition to what you're saying, is there a continued need for it? Yes, I would say absolutely. One of the things I think that one of the downsides to integration was that, we sometimes left our own community and to embrace other folks' community. You look at this panel here, we all are our own businesses, and one thing that I think there's a major distinction between minority formatted media and minority owned media, and that's what we try to. The message that we try to send out to the younger folks that it's okay to be out there, but own your own business. That's what you started.
Yes.
Don't lose. Before integration, we had a lot of those, but after integration, we lost a lot of that because we decided to embrace somebody else's business, and I think we got away from that. But we want to maintain that.
Let's just dive right into that thought process there, Vernon. Just talking about embracing our minority businesses, that means also supporting those businesses by doing business with the businesses. And are we being supported, do you think, by your own communities?
Not as
better.
much. I would say not as much as we should be.
Yes.
There is a definitely disconnect there, but make no mistake about it. They know we are here, and anytime there's anything that's going on, and if they can't get the results they want, we are the first ones that they call, and it's, you better listen. You got to hear me. I've got this problem, or can you tell me how I can get this, or what's going on with that, or did you know the radio station, we can't get a hold of the radio station. Can you call and find out what's going on? And we've got all kinds of things that's going on that they'll even call and say, I didn't see your paper out. Where can I find your paper?
But yet you don't have the financial support, I guess,
Yes.
what you're
Yes.
saying. But you'll get someone to call on you when they need you.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually took a break in 2014 from publishing for a little while because the business is more than just a newspaper. It's a community network, and it's a lot to take on.
It's a life.
And so
It's commitment.
Yes.
And when I started publishing again, I had all kinds of people just relieved, telling me how relieved they were to see the paper back in circulation, and we just didn't have the connection to the Latino community without you, and so they were happy to see me come back. But when I'd ask for some type of financial support to help me print those pages, wasn't quite as enthusiastic response.
And I guess the question you have to ask yourself, why is that? And it's a double-edged sword from both communities. It's somehow that when one of the myths, we talk about myths, one of the myths is that people perceive us as being inferior in many ways. But in actuality, we are superior in many ways because we provide the things that our community needs. And I don't think they sometimes understand
When you
that.
talk about that inferiority, I guess the point behind that is that I think sometimes people look at minority mediums as the second rate sometimes, and that's, I know it hurts. It's a little the thing there on the chin, but that's what
and we're
happens.
basically the ones too that they look at and they say, okay, well, why don't you cut? Can we make a deal with you? Can't you cut your rate? But see, when we cut our rates, our printers don't cut the rates. The sponsors don't cut their rates. Nobody cuts their rates for us. So if we cut our rates, then that means that we still have to pay the norm. So most times, and they tell us, well, you guys shouldn't be charging that much. But
Yeah, by the same token, when you have to do that, that means that there are people that's in the community that need to be hired. And because there's a lack of job creation in our community in many instances, there's high unemployment. And so if you can't get the advertising you need to run your paper or run your radio station or run your internet websites, then you're not able to hire. You're at a constant standstill, putting your own finances behind what need to be done, and that's a good thing too, because it keeps the ball rolling. One of the things Vernon talked about was we got integration and not shopping with each other confused. The biggest boycott that took place in the black community was done by us against us, and our business acumens that we should have had. We should have understood that integration was to help us get to the next level, but not put ourselves out of business. And that hurt us bad because we was happy to be moving up out of certain communities and all of that.
To the west side.
You know what? You always have such a way of putting things. I'm just, wow. It is what it is.
And another thing too, and sometimes they don't understand what Jackie talked about earlier about the cost point and the prices and stuff like that. The competition, we cannot. We're small businesses, as you know, and there's no doubt about that. We can't compete with the big
major
meteors and so forth. My case in point, I would think that I could charge $10 a spot, okay? And you think that's a great rate, right? Well, it may be, but may not be. But you can take the big cable companies, which has thousands of channels to fill, and they can sell those spots for $3 and $4 a spot. And
you have to compete with them.
I can compete
to
with
stay
them.
on the air.
And so it's like
You
I said,
need
it's a
to.
double-edged
That's why
sword.
you're saying you need
We
the support.
need the support, yeah.
The minorities need to support the minorities
Exactly
in order
right.
to keep doing what you're doing. And Grace, you said a mouthful in the green room. You said these minority businesses are saving lives.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you meant by that, because I totally get it, but I want our viewers to hear it.
Well, the very creation of La Costa Latina newspaper was to help this new Hispanic demographic, Spanish-speaking demographic that had moved into the Gulf Coast after Hurricane Ivan. Shortly after Hurricane Ivan, we had Tropical Storm Dennis. And because we had established relationships with our local emergency management, they allowed us to help out at the Emergency Operations Center, where we were broadcasting information in Spanish. Some of the highlights of the emergency conditions. You know, the flooding, the curfews, that type of thing.
But you're talking about Ivan. That was years ago. You have something in your newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, it
you know,
continues. But I can tell you that in that circumstance, because we were there at broadcasting over the airwaves, we actually were able to communicate with some people that were evacuating across I-10, headed towards that bridge that fell apart during Ivan, and talk them off the interstate and into a shelter because they heard us on the radio giving this information out in Spanish. Here today, we're talking about the Zika virus that is affecting people in Central and South America, which we have a lot of people here from those countries. And just giving this general information about the warnings that we take for granted because we can understand what's being said through mainstream media. But I know there's a whole lot of people out there that don't know anything about it because they haven't heard it in Spanish yet.
Right. And that's the thing about your newspaper, and we had it up just a moment ago on the graphics, and I was trying to get you to hold it up and talk about some of the what's on the front page there, which you just mentioned, the virus and that sort of thing. But you do your newspaper in both languages, English and
It is in English and
Spanish.
Spanish for various reasons. Not only do we have Hispanics that read the paper, we have Russians and Filipinos that read the paper, and we have people who are just interested in multicultural community news and that want to also be involved in.
Love it. We're going to let you get a sip of water. And we're going to move over to the Pensacola Voice you're holding in your hand there, Jacqueline.
You okay?
Okay.
Well, yeah, as you well know, the Pensacola Voice. We what else can I say about us? I can go on and on and on.
Well,
But
I wanted you to talk about that particular circulation and that sort of thing and what's there.
okay, well, our circulation, as I said before, we cover the Gulf Coast. We've got a circulation of about 35,000 that goes out. It's been a long road, a good road.
And even
Some-
that story right there.
getting unstuck.
Yeah,
the
your
Pensacola
headline. Yes.
This is about, we cover all kinds of things. This particular story though is about Robin Richard and her husband Lloyd. They have a Pensacola network, and they do this every fourth Friday of the month. And I mean, at this fourth Friday, at their networking session, they have various people that come in that they speak. And I mean, they've had people such as Quint Studer, they've had Gulf Power, they've had some of everybody that come in. And if you have questions, you know, and it's really geared for the community. That if they have questions, they can come in and ask the questions, and they can get a direct answer.
And my point to that article being your front page article there is that they have a front page in a minority-owned newspaper
right.
to give them an opportunity to get that information out. Get me?
Gotcha.
That's where I was going with it. Hats off to Robin Richard. She's filled in for us here at the Aware Show in my absence of being sick a few years from a serious car accident. So I want to thank her for being here and filling in. Great journalist and doing
she
some
is.
great things in the community.
But
Hats off to you.
and as you said, you pointed that out. I think if people were to really come back and look at the Pensacola Voice, they'll find that our headlines are always about somebody in our community. It can. I mean, we've done fashion shows to project some, just to get somebody's fashion show out there, let people know this is what they do. Or there can be, I mean, it's just a number of things that we do, and we really try to make sure that people understand that we are really out there in our community.
I think we all have relationships with people within our community that call us.
Yeah.
When things happen, we have that special connection with people that listen or read our material, just to let us know the latest before they'll call anybody else.
I want to talk to you, Grace, if you're
Yes, I'm
okay
okay
now,
now, thank you.
because we're talking about some of the challenges and that sort of thing with doing minority mediums and that sort of thing. Do you find there are particular challenges even for minority media in terms of like you're like the Latino population, which is really becoming like the majority in some
Yeah.
ways, but still, you know what I mean. Within your own community, do you have some issues? Maybe even as we mentioned, the language barrier.
The
or
language
other
barrier
issues.
is going to be our
Biggest.
biggest challenge for our community. And that's usually working with first generation folks that are in this country. Their children become bilingual, and their children become very highly educated individuals and take their families to that level that they're looking for in the American dream. And so it's a process that takes a while. It's generations actually, as we're helping Latino families become Americans, if that makes sense. I think the word is assimilation. It takes a while.
Okay.
And we understand that, and that's why my publication is always going to be bilingual. I know that there are people trying to learn English, and I know that there are people wanting to communicate with folks in Spanish, and they use this newspaper to learn the other language.
So for your our Spanish-speaking viewers, just go ahead and
Don't make me
let
say just
them.
anything.
I don't want you to say anything. I actually want you to say something, but it almost just went away. I just want to give you an opportunity to let them know that for those who don't speak English, that you're there, here.
Estoy muy orgullosa a representar a esta comunidad en la costa y todo lo que pueda hacer para ayudar a nuestra gente, ya saben que estoy aquí. I'm very proud to be able to represent our Hispanic community and hope they realize that I'm still here for them.
And we're
for
glad you are, 10 years later. Other
And it's a
challenge-
sacrifice.
Yes,
what
a
you do.
major sacrifice. Yes. Other challenges facing minority mediums that we want to get out here before we move on to some of the great things that we're doing, including the internet. I mean, I don't know if the internet is even a challenge for you to overcome.
Well, one of the things I see that social media has become a medium within itself, and that's why I like what I'm doing, because we talk to people in Flint. You know, we had people to call in when we did the show on lead in the water. Before it blew up on the national scene, we did shows on it. We did a show on Michigan in Detroit before, when the governor first moved the elected Democratic elected individuals from power to put these managers over. That we did a show on that because we understand that if a democracy is to flourish, you can't have dictatorship, and no matter what kind of condition sometimes the city is in, and they put managers there to cut the finances to bring, so that the people would have to use this water from Flint, Michigan River instead of Lake Huron. So we talked about that. And when she said that, you know, we are saving people's lives, we are. We had people on talking about sleep deprivation and cancer and all of that. So it's a thing where in our community where people don't get information, they can get that information now from, you know, all of us that's here.
Oh, yeah. And when you talk about the internet, you're talking global. And
Right.
that's good and it's bad.
Of course.
Because, you know what I mean? But, you know, in some ways, you're very much needed because you don't get to keep things local and to share that information with your community. But in another area, you get to share it with the world. So
Right.
it's
But one of the things you're doing, because the same issues that we have here in our community, they have in other communities around the country. And we talked about environmental racism and all of that. And that, I know that's another show that we need to delve into. But you know, the social media is a powerful tool that you can use to inform.
Didi, I think that's the beauty of having Black-owned media, because we can make a difference. We can impact the lives of our own community. We can have shows, and I can remember when I first started WBQP, one of the first shows that we had was on sickle cell anemia, which is very little talked about. I had Rachel Gaston. We did a show on that, and then we did many other shows that on illnesses that affect the predominant Black community, and I think it did save
And the
lives.
only time you're going to hear about that is when there's a breakthrough, but you're not going to hear about the ongoing issue of actually having sickle cell disease, or and it's you know, or diabetes, or any of these other things that become major health issues for African Americans. The internet and how it affects the newspaper, because people can get it online.
Yes, but see, and also too, we have a website. So a lot of the articles that we talk about, such as diabetes, and a lot of the articles that we do, we actually put them online as well. Now, how it affects the newspaper for us right now, it's actually going to be a good thing, because the Pensacola Voice is transitioning. We're doing a transition into social media that we will be able to expand our readership, and right now we're looking at just covering all of the Gulf Coast, and probably starting out with the Gulf Coast and then going down to South Florida. So with that, though, we're going to also have the paper, because one thing that we found out, even though we've got the internet and we've got young folks like the internet. Okay, but we've got a lot of the older folks that look at it and they just have to have that newspaper in their hand when they want to read that cup, or when they want to have that cup of coffee or drink the tea, or have something. They want to be able to have something that they can touch and read. So newspaper is not dead. A lot of people have said, "Oh, print media is dead. It's gone." It's not going anywhere. But we are learning that what we have to do is combine the two, that we use the internet, we do social media, we do Facebook. And so when you put your articles and you have things like that going on, then you can draw the young people in, which also, too, as you were saying, Jerry, something very interesting that you were saying, we were talking about hiring. And one of the things with that, with social media, what we're looking at now is that we're trying to bring in young people to train. So that, because one of the things that we found is for African American children, for our young people, when they go out to get a job or they get an interview, the first thing they ask them is that, what kind of experience do you have? And 9 times out of 10, they're saying, I don't have any. So it's better that you can come in and do an internship and get that experience, because it looks good on your resume. So it's not saying that because you come in and you work here or work anywhere in the black media that you got to stay forever, but you need that experience. So that's another reason why we're all here, because we're here to help our kids, our young ones, get that hand up so that they can move on, like you, Dee Dee.
Well, very good. We're doing our job.
And just jumping on what Jackie's saying, and that's another, I think, beauty of our businesses, because in the television business particularly, we have trained a lot of people that we was a staff step to a lot of folks' career entry point into their getting into television, because otherwise they couldn't have went to another station and got an internship, or went to another station and got TV experience. We've seen that a lot, even with Jackie newspaper. They couldn't have went down to the bigger newspaper and got that. And so we have, I think, serve a very valuable input for this community. And that's why, going back to your question, is there a need to continue? Yes, it definitely is a need to continue.
It would be a total void in our community if there were no Pensacola Voice, if there was no WBQ TV station, WBQP, my bad, or radio stations. That void of what we are doing, it would be a total void. We have to have a way of communicating with each other. In Africa, we use the drums to communicate. So now we got to use all the medium that we have to inform, to educate, to make sure that people know the difference between what's out there, whether there's jobs available or not. If you don't have that medium, people don't know, in many instances, because they don't have the wherewithal many times to get to the information. Information is the new currency. Education and information is the new currency of the future. And if our children are not prepared for it, and we are not preparing them for it, then they're going to be in trouble for another generation, as so many are now, because we were unprepared to go out, because we were told, go to school, get an education, get a good job. Instead of going out, getting an education, building ourselves businesses so that our children wouldn't have to suffer the same fate.
Absolutely.
This is so true.
I like to look at it as helping the community in general to grow. Because I think from the outside in, Pensacola now becomes a more diverse community that has different cultures represented in different mediums. And it allows you to look at how far we've come, when you look back and see where we weren't represented in lots of areas, but now, it affects our tourism, to know that diverse people are welcome, they're represented, and are participating in the information flow within our community.
I'm going to disclose something really huge here on the air about myself with that in mind right there. We've come a long way, baby. When I started in this business, actually, I was 16 years old at LaFleur High Magnet School, where I started off in television at PBS. I talk about that all the time to youngsters because PBS has been wonderful to me. But the reason why I'm saying that we've come a long way, baby, because when I actually got into radio and television, I will never forget this day. I want you to listen to this. This is big news here on The Aware Show. I was told that I could not go on the air with my real name because it would be hard for non-minorities to remember. I hate to tell you, but it's a fake. But it wasn't something that I wanted. It wasn't what I created. Dee Dee Sharp was supposed to be quick, snatchy, and catchy. And long story short, the story was that when I got ready to go on the air, my name is Millicey. That's right, Millicey is my name. But when I went on the air, I was told if you go on the air as Millicey, nobody's going to remember Millicey. So they said you need to come up with something quick and snappy. I said, well, I want to be Cece then, Millicey, Cece. And they said, well, there's another person at another radio station with Cece, so they'll get you confused. So I said, well, I don't know what my name should be. Well, just go up a letter in the alphabet. I said, Dee Dee, that'll be Dingy. And they said, no, it'll be Sharp. That was the name.
Wow.
And that's how that happened. And it all started because I couldn't be Millicey. That's my name. And I love it. You know, really. But that's how it started. And so we've come a long way because how many times do you tune in and watch something now or on the internet or whatever, and you see these names that you go, what? Huh? You know, but back when I was coming up, you through the media and the ranks, you couldn't be that.
Dee, can I?
Go.
When you say that, it's just you have to hide who you are, and I have to go back when I came into this business, and then I was telling Jackie at their 50th anniversary, I took some listened to Les Humphrey. Les, when I first got in this television business, Les said, Vernon, what you need to do is just be invisible, basically.
Wow.
Don't be black. Because nobody's not going to take you seriously. They're not going to support you and that kind of thing. You would be better down the road if you, and tell me what he told me, if you hired your white boy to run the station, you stay invisible in the background.
Wow.
Les, I wish I had listened to you. And that's the truth.
Don't say that.
Well,
Shame on you.
In terms of the success of the business, that's the only.
I got you.
You know,
We totally
really,
have you. We
yeah.
got you. We
Okay, you got me on
understand.
that. Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, I wanted to own a business. I wanted to, and I wanted to send a statement to the younger folks that, as small as it is, black folks can own a television station. Okay, and in fact, it's the only television station black-owned even today, even in the Southeast. And it's still one of their own less than 10 black broadcast stations in the nation. So I'm very proud of that accomplishment.
I'm very proud that through our 25 years, there have been times when we were one of the main local shows that showed up even in the ratings, and that was pretty impressive for a PBS program. I was very proud of that. That was like my own Oscar, or my own.
Speaking of Oscars.
Speaking of Oscars. Let's go to some hot topics right quick with what's going on in the Oscars and that sort of thing. And we can come back to this if we need to, some of what we were just talking about. But speaking of the Oscars and what's going on, Jada Pinkett Smith came out along with Spike Lee, and they said, you know, why even bother? You know, you've got basically older white men deciding who these nominees are going to be, and they're all white nominees. So why even be bothered with this? Now there's going to be some changes, of course, as a result to represent more minorities in winning awards and for something other than playing drug dealers or prostitutes or whatever it is that negative that has been.
Slaves.
Or some would,
get an Oscar
you
for a
know,
slave.
whatever, you know, that's what
Color
is,
purple and everything.
that's what's being talked about in the African American community. There, it's out. You know, I didn't make it up. So the Oscars and what's going on and having that positive change that is reflective of a race issue and a media issue to some degree, because you're talking about writers, producers, and the people
Right.
who make the decisions that these are the winners of acting and this and that and talents. And finally, someone's fed up and they're saying, hey, we're just not going to have anything to do with it anymore. And then they listen.
It's so much go into that, the clothes that people wear, the limousines, the people that do all of the service behind the scene that you don't see. It's a whole plethora of things that people don't even know about that's there. Even though I'm not so much, I guess, concerned about the Oscars as I am
The media,
the
us,
media,
yes.
the image awards that I see with the NAACP. That's what I watch. I never watch the Oscars anyway.
Shame on you. You didn't say that now.
You know, but see, one of the things too, though, even with the Oscars, what has to change is the rules.
Right.
The rules that they have. That when it comes to a lot of the movies that African Americans are in or produce, those rules have to change. It's like if you have rules that said, okay, 50 years ago you had to do A, B, C, D, and African Americans weren't a part of A, B, C, D, and you're still doing A, B, C, D, and we come in and we're on the E, F, G side of it, then you've got to go in and you've got to change the rules, and that's where it has to begin. I think it has to begin there first, and then too, like you say, I mean, we have enough African Americans that are outstanding actors that are there. You've got, Spike Lee's a producer, but
You've got a lot of outstanding news anchors and reporters who are
That's
minorities.
so very
and
true.
how many times, I mean, you look like, we've got Lester Holt, example here. Brian Williams, former NBC news anchor, Nightly News. Not to throw him under a bus, but I'm just saying, how many minorities in the business of TV news would be able to fudge a story and still have a $10 million 5-year contract at the end of the day? Now, I know that the argument is made that he fudged the story of what happened in Iraq, saying that he got shot at in a helicopter and that sort of thing. And what they're saying is that the reason why they didn't let him go is because he did this at nightly news programs and/or things that weren't necessarily related to NBC News. But he's a representative, and I've always been told in this business that I'm a billboard. So if I do that, my credibility is gone out the window, and I don't have could be blackballed.
yes, that's so true.
Well, you
I'm
remember
just saying.
you remember the guy that did that plagiarized his stories, the black guy. I can't think of what paper it was. Not only did they throw him out of the bus, they threw him out the plane. That brother hit the ground.
Remember Connie Chung? And this is just off the cuff. Tell us what. To Newt Gingrich, Jamal, and hello, what happened to? Where is Connie?
Right.
I haven't seen her. I'm just saying. So is that then? I'm being overly dramatic about it because there's so many things that people just don't know that and we don't know either. Not really. You say there are more African Americans who are on the air as news anchors and reporters and that sort of thing, but we're not talking about the rotating chair, who left, who's not there, and that one, or two or whatever, it's congratulations and hats off to them for their long stays and that sort of thing, because it's something that you don't see as often.
One of the points that Vernon made early on is that, it's a difference between being a person sitting there and supposed to be representing the minority viewpoint than the person that's actually representing the minority or the African American or the Hispanic viewpoint. See, there's people put there, but they are there to carry out the other news. They're not talking about what's going on in our community. They're just there,
and I think the thing is,
that's good too.
Is do you have a media that looks like you?
Right.
And I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm just one person. It's just the Aware Show.
Two.
Two, okay. Just want to move things here along because at the end of the day, when someone goes to the Pensacola Voice or the La Costa Latina and or our voices on the web and at the TV station at WBQP. Say that 3 times. When they go to these local mediums for minorities, they're going to get the minority perspective that they may or may not get from mainstream. And I guess that's, at the end of the day, the important thing to remember here on the Aware Show.
Exactly right.
That you guys are there
Dee Dee,
for
I
them.
think that's so important. You know, it just take. I'm just going to go to the radio part of it now. We have on radio, Robert Hill. We have viewpoints and dialogues on radio about different issues in our community that you don't hear, you don't get a chance to see anywhere else, and we can talk about it. But if it wasn't for mediums like that, where would we be?
And Jerry, I had the opportunity of hearing a few of your shows, most recently the Flint, Michigan issues. Great job. I mean, because the thing is that I guess you're not tied to anyone or any particular interest other
Right.
than just putting the information out there.
Right.
And that's what makes
That's-
all of us unique
right.
is that we're not tied. We're all independent. So there's nobody that sits there and tells us, oh, you've got to do this or you can't write this or you can't have a show on this. We are our own people, so therefore the things that we see that are important in our community, we can write it, we can cover it, and that's a great independent feel about the whole thing, I think, you know.
And Jackie, you know, and the beauty of it is that you don't have to worry about some major sponsor on pulling my resources because they're not there anyway. So,
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
We got to get you back in here because you've gotten quiet on us.
Well, I wanted to add to what Jackie was saying, and actually what Jerry said earlier. I don't know that you'll find the passion in what we do behind the work that we do, just in the very creation of our outlets.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a huge, huge difference in building those relationships with our listeners or readers. I had an office out on Highway 29. People would see me there at 3 o'clock in the morning still working, and it gave them the sense of pride to know she's doing that for us. And it meant a lot
beautiful?
to me, of course.
Yeah.
But it means a lot to the community to know that somebody's working that hard to be that voice for them.
And you know, and you've come under a lot of fire for that same voice.
Yeah.
You can tell us about it. You don't have to go get specific about it, but people don't understand when you take on such a responsibility that you've taken on. Too much is given, much is required, and this has required a lot of you. You've actually been threatened.
Absolutely.
Tell us about it.
Well, just getting started, there were people who objected to having information released in Spanish in our community. There was really not much else behind that. They just didn't like the idea of information being shared in Spanish. That's why I also insisted in publishing in both languages, so everyone could see we're not hiding anything. Also, not everyone who reads the papers is Spanish speakers, we've mentioned before, but there was actually objection to us having emergency information out on the radio during a disaster for 2 minutes. You know, people complained to the outlets, the radio stations and the TV stations that gave us that airtime to provide that information. And if it takes one person to care about the thousands of people that need to know that there's a hurricane coming, and stay off the highway, don't cross the bridges, the lights are going to go out for a few hours, where the emergency relief stations are, I'm going to do that.
And when mainstream needs to get that information out, then they need you. We need you, you know, and we want to give you an opportunity now to get the information on how you can get with one of these mediums here represented on the Aware Show, and get your information out and allow them to do their jobs. And just in wrapping up here on the Aware Show, time has flown, folks, and I told you that was going to happen. As we do that, show you some of the information here on how to get in touch with the various mediums who've been represented here. We can go to the screen there for you. I want to mention this. Outfront Magazine, don't want you to forget that the magazine is celebrating 25 years of covering events, entertainment, and issues that impact the Black community in Northwest Florida and South Alabama. So in celebrating here all of you, we celebrate Outfront Magazine as well for 25 years of doing what they do. Congratulations to them for what they've been doing here in our community. And of course, just trying to pass along the information here for those who've been watching us here on the Aware Show. Want to give you an opportunity to write down contact information for those who are represented here. And as always, we want you guys to continue doing what you do in our communities, because we know you are, because you're passionate, as Grace just said. Again, represented here, Vernon Watson, WBQP-TV owner and general manager. Also, we have Jerry McIntosh, Our Voices, the McIntosh principal. And of course, Grace Resendez McCaffrey represented the La Costa Latina. Thank you so much for what you do. And also, finally, last not least, Jacqueline Miles with the Pensacola Voice newspaper. Thank you all for being here on The Aware Show. Congratulations on 25 years. Congratulations on what you're doing on the internet now, Jerry. Wish you the best. And of course, we always want to thank you, Jacqueline, 50 years strong. Yes. With the Pensacola Voice, and we know you're going to be there 50 years stronger. You might not be there, but we know the voice.
My grandchildren will be there.
We don't know that you won't be there, but I'm just saying. And then, of course, Grace, for what you do at the La Costa Latina. We certainly thank you, and sorry for some of the issues and the things that you have personally faced. 10 years strong and counting with what you do.
And I appreciate all the folks that have helped me. Actually, Jackie's been a great friend, and I've spoken to folks in the African American community who have fought the battle before and helped me keep my chin up. So
okay, and also I've heard Jacqueline talking in the green room with you, and I know that you guys are going to be doing some great things in the future. Jackie, you've got some great things coming up. Quickly?
Yeah, very quickly. As I was saying, we're getting ready to move into social media, which is going to have a lot of apps. It'll have a lot of info. We'll be able to do a lot of data. I'm going to reach out to Grace because I know we're gonna kind of form this little partnership.
Some more
here
networking. We love it.
Yeah,
Grace, where can we see you?
The TVs, everything. It's going to be good.
And the La Costa Latina.
LaCostaLatina.com or
love it.
Your favorite
Everybody's going to the
Mexican
internet.
restaurant. Lots of locations from Mobile to Phoenix Springs.
Jerry?
We're going to be talking to the teachers in Detroit the next show. So that would be the 14th.
Okay. Well, by the time this airs.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're glad that you're there. So anytime anybody wants to tune in and catch you, they can catch you on which days?
Second and fourth Sunday of each month at 7 p.m. local, 8 Eastern.
Easy to remember. And last but not least, Vernon?
WBQP, we welcome everybody to catch us over the air. We have, like I say, a number of channels now that represent different viewpoints, not only African American viewpoints, we got Hispanic viewpoints on it and entertainment and so forth. But at www.wbqp.com and just give us a call.
I love it a lot. So you can see we don't just celebrate diversity and that sort of thing just during Black History Month in February. We celebrate it every day through you guys. Congratulations once again. Thanks for being on The Aware Show. And as always, thank you for being there with us and supporting us as well. Until next time, I'm Dee Dee Sharp saying, stay informed and stay aware.